Oh, it's such beautiful lighting in here. Welcome back to another Handyman Business YouTube video. As you can see, I've got new lights in. I'm going to give a quick update on the electrical situation and my progress, as well as answer a Patreon question. First I'm going to give my experience, what's worked for me, and obviously we want the discussion in the comments below so that we can get valuable input from guys who've worked in different areas of the country, different size cities, different demographics, all of that. All that stuff is relevant to where you do your work. What works for me might not work for the guy down in Louisiana. Coincidentally, I think that is the poorest state in the country. And the metric to say that is they have the highest poverty rate. All those southern states have the highest poverty rates in the country. God, I just smashed the hell out of my freaking pinky finger. Look at that. Just happened. I was literally rolling around in pain on the freaking driveway 5 minutes ago. Decided to take a little break from my other project. I took 4 ibuprofen, started drinking a little Gatorade. It's got some sugar in it. Just to kind of fight off the shock. I started getting a little nauseous because I smashed this like you wouldn't believe. I haven't even ran under cold water or anything yet. Just kind of letting it air out. Probably we should go find some Admiral Nelson or something to take the edge off. Little Ron Rico, take the edge off. So I don't have electricity over in that room right now. I'm about ready to start boxing. Not boxing like this, but like boxing out. Home Depot did not have any 3-gang boxes. The only ones they had were these super deep composite ones. So I had to get that. Plan is there's going to be a 3-gang box here. There is going to be a light switch for the security light on this side of the building. There's going to be a light switch for the security light on the front side of the building. And then there's going to be an outlet. And then it's also going to serve as a junction box to restore power to that room over there. It goes up through that flex and into that nasty mess of flex that I showed you in the last video. It actually feeds some outlets over here. That's going to be phase 2, is tearing out all the flex. I've pulled out this wire here. It's just loosely placed up in there. I haven't stapled it up yet. It'll get stapled tight to that double top plate there, and I will be building in a chase to conceal all that. Keep in mind, these are just loosely in place. They're all going to get tidied up once they find their final destination. This one here, I think this one gets completely pulled out and starts a circuit right around here, works its way all the way over to that side. The lights came with pigtails already on them, and you can link up to 6 of them together. I didn't need that, but it works pretty good. It works with the light switch, or they're also motion activated. I got it set up where I don't even have to turn the light switch off. I can just walk out, and 10 minutes later they all shut down, and I walk in and they all turn on. Don't think that's real necessary for a workshop, but it's kind of neat. Pretty good. I have 5 more for that paint room. I want that room lit up really bright. We're going to start the Q&A portion of this video. Polly wanted to come out, but she's shaking like a leaf, freezing her ass off. Are you cold? Did you just stand on your front feet? You haven't been on camera in forever, and you're shaking like a little girl. I'm going to put her inside. It's a little chilly out here for her. There it is. So this question is submitted through Patreon. If you would like to get in touch with me, shoot the shit, talk, there'll be a link in the description on how to join Patreon. Dear Handyman, I've been following you for quite some time. Appreciate all the time you put in your videos. Okay, first question. Hourly versus estimating. He's tried both of these methods and has earned more money hourly. But he's had some situations where the customer got sticker shock. Even though they know how much he's charging per hour, they may not be out there with a stopwatch keeping track, of the running tally. But at the end of the day, or the end of 2 days, he submits a bill for $700, and they nearly shit themselves. They don't get it. They're like,
wait, whoa, what just happened? Where'd the $700 go? I don't get it. I don't understand.
That's one reason to do an estimate. Here's a clarifying question, or another question. Are there situations when it is better to do hourly versus estimating? For me, at this stage, no. And I've never worked hourly. Ever. I don't think I've ever had an hourly job. So I don't get the hourly thing. I don't have time to work hourly. I wouldn't get much done to make the same amount of money, because I'd have to drag my feet and drag projects long and drawn out. Over the last 12 years, I've had a lot of consistent work, more so the second half than the first half, and I got to get some work done, and I need to move fast, and I am constantly thinking of more efficient ways to get the job done so that I can get to the next job. Now, a critique of that is, well, you're so rushed, you're not going to do quality work. That's an understandable critique. But in order for me to get called back to this customer's house for the next decade, I have to do a good job. In order for that customer to tell their friends and their families, their coworkers about me, I have to do a good job. So you can't just do a fast job one day and then go on. You're going to be constantly searching for customers. You're going to be like those guys in the comment section asking me how I find all these jobs, what app am I using, what type of marketing, what advertising. And the advertising is word of mouth, repeat work, customer retention for a long stretch of time. The sticker shock. I've explained this in the past, and this is one of the reasons that I do the estimate, is because they don't know how much materials cost. They don't know how much time you have. They don't know the whole logistics of completing a project. Let's say it's a trim job on a house, all new baseboard. So you say, okay, we're going to do time and materials. I charge $50 an hour, and you'll get a receipt at the end for all the materials. Well, doesn't sound too bad. They have no idea how many hours it's going to take you. Just for simple numbers, let's just say it's going to take you 20 hours. And that 20 hours has to include you going to purchase the items, the nails, the caulk, the baseboard, the saw blades. You have to take all the time to go purchase that. Keep in mind, this is a small house. We're using simple numbers here. And the bill comes out to be $1,000. They had no idea it was going to cost $1,000. They need to know and be prepared for what you're going to charge them. That sticker shock can lead to not getting a call back for the next job or not getting the referral. Time, experience, years of doing it, and also years of managing it has given me an idea of how long it takes to do things. When you've done something 100 times, you get a good idea of how long it's going to take you. There's also, what's the value of that project in the market that you're working on? You know, there's some areas, there's a large labor pool that doesn't charge much money, like California and Texas. Those Texans, they get real upset when I mention them. But there is a large pool of people that do manual labor for a low dollar figure. What that does is it brings the value of that trim job down, as opposed to somewhere else where there is a shortage of labor and there is a high demand for that labor. In area number 2, that same project, same house, has a higher value and you can charge more. Some areas aren't good to do this type of work because the value of manual labor is low. The value of home improvement projects are low. The value of the houses are low. I like estimating. I would never hire someone to work on my house hourly. I want to know how much it's going to cost. Some things that I've done in the past to get an idea of what their mindset is I talk to them. I want to know what they want done. What type of trim do you want? Stain grade trim? You want tall trim, short trim, wide trim, things like that. And then I'd say, what type of budget did you have in mind for this project? Because we can do different things to accommodate your budget. Sometimes they give you a number, and sometimes they say,
Well, I just don't really have any idea what something like this would cost.
Then you got to present. You got to give them an idea. You got to ease into that idea, and I give them a ballpark range. We can go with some basic baseboard, paint grade, MDF, white semi-gloss paint, and that'll come out at X dollar figure. I'll take care of purchasing it. I pick it up, I deliver it, I paint it, I do it all. If you do go to a stain grade baseboard, there is a massive, massive leap and the labor costs to do stain grade trim versus paint grade trim. They need to be educated on that. If they're like,
Okay, that makes sense. So what's the next step?
I'll send you a couple pictures tonight in the email to get your approval on the profile of it, and I'm going to take some measurements and I'll get you an estimate tomorrow. And that's how it goes. But how do you know? How do you know how much to charge? It just takes experience. It takes experience of doing it to know how much to charge. You got to know what your budget is. You got to know what your yearly goals, your monthly goals are for money. You got to do the math and make sure it works for you. It works in the area that you live and work in. I think that answers his question on hourly versus estimating. Have I ever had sticker shock? Only the one time. I've told the story. It was about building this custom built-in cabinetry on this long wall, and they nearly fell over. And they were a good referral from someone who had previously built an extensive built-in system for, and apparently they didn't relay any sort of pricing. They just gave my contact information, and never heard from them again, and don't want to hear from them again. They don't have the concept of what it costs to do home improvement projects, cabinet building projects. Got too many more people to go work for. Another part of this question, I know you've mentioned referrals being the cornerstone of your customer roster. It has been his source as well. I'm looking for more investor type leads, property management. They have been kind of a big blessing for me. Just discovered them randomly, didn't know much about it. Always thought that they just paid, the low paying rent-a-drunks, and that's typically true, but I got into it by responding to a Craigslist ad like 7 years ago for a ceiling repair. And in fact, today's video that just went up a couple hours ago, it's going crazy. It's #1 viewed video. Got 5,000 views in the first hour. Was for that same property management company. 7 years later, off of one Craigslist ad. It was a long road to get to this established relationship where they just wrote off everybody else they used to use and they focused on me. I was able to separate myself from the people they had hired in the past by one main thing, is I got everything on their list done. Most of the guys that do this type of work are most of the guys, how to phrase this carefully, not trying to piss anybody off, but the skill sets, the motivation, the mindset, the intelligence is on the lower level for people who normally do this type of work for property managers, and they never get the list done. They only get the list half done. Sometimes they don't even tell the property manager that that they didn't get certain items done. And that's become a stereotype in that property management maintenance labor pool. I would get everything done. I'd take pictures, I'd send them the completed pictures, and it was different. It just was a slow progression. And it kind of just spread from there by word of mouth and referrals. And it even worked its way up into more than just maintenance on rentals, but actually renovations on rentals for these investors. Management company says, hey, you know what? We could probably get you some more rent if we put an addition on this house. I got a guy that can do it all. And he's great. He's got awesome pricing. An example of that is, it'll be linked in the description. It's one of my first videos. It kind of really helped launch this channel. Well over 1 million views now. DIY addition on a budget. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I'm guessing it took 2 years, because I think I started working for the guy 7 years ago. So it took 2 years to build the relationship where he was pimping me out like crazy. Finished basements, adding bathrooms, bathroom renos, especially because a lot of these investors keep the property for a certain period of time, and then they want to sell it. They'll keep it up to, say, 8 years. Then they'll renovate it. They'll rent it for 2 or 3 more years to pay for the renovations, and then they'll sell it. And it'll sell at a higher price, largely because there is more finished square feet, whether it was in the basement or an addition. I'm getting a little long-winded here. Hopefully you guys are sticking with me. Another reason I like working for these property managers, they have really low expectations, and it's very easy to provide an acceptable repair or acceptable maintenance task for them. And rentals have problems throughout the year, especially that section in the winter. Working for homeowner occupied houses in the winter can be a pain in the butt. You're in and out of the house a lot. You're letting cold air in. Oftentimes the weather's bad. It's snowing out. You got to kick your shoes off, in and out, in and out. The hours in the day are hardly any at all. It's just kind of miserable. You can just tell that they're uncomfortable just because of the environmentals that you're bringing into their house. With rental houses, you don't have to worry about any of that. The property managers always hate the renters. I've never experienced a good relationship. I've always heard trash talking, and they don't care. Just go in there, kick the freaking door in. I don't care if they're home, they're in the shower. You go in there and you get it done. It is often like that. I don't have to worry about pleasing anybody. It's just go get the work done. It's simple repairs like you've seen in, hundreds of my videos. Take the pictures, they're complete, invoice. Nowadays I just text them. They just text me and then Venmo me. Hopefully that answered his question and helped answer some of your questions. Hourly versus estimating, and how do you get property managers? It takes a lot of time. Like I said, it's been 12 years, 100% self-employment. Prior to that, I did construction management. So I was in houses every single day, managing the schedule of a construction of a house. So I know how long it takes to roughen a house, to plumb a house, to insulate a house, drywall a house, do the trim, clean a house. Everything is on a schedule that I had to maintain for years. Hundreds of houses, hundreds of different condominium units. That also helps in knowing how long a specific task should take. Where's Ron Rico? I don't know. It feels like a Friday to me. See that light? This one here is off. I think I have the motion settings messed up. They came with a remote control. So I got to go through and program all these lights. Little more than what I need or want, but they sent them to me for free, so I said I'd try them out.